Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 266.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
All right, so I've been hearing from you guys. You seem to like when we give you the opportunity to catch up with what we might be doing on Periscope. And for those of you who haven't caught up with us yet on Periscope, by all means, go over. It's at Cashflow Diary on Periscope. We do broadcast live occasionally. We're working on putting a schedule together so you know when it's happening and you guys can be there. We can ask questions, those types of things. But this time, what we did is I brought my wife along for the ride, and I think you're going to enjoy it. If you're trying to figure out how to build your team, if you're trying to figure out, how to make this real estate thing happen, you realize you can't do it alone. So I didn't do this one alone, and I invited my wife. I think you're going to enjoy it. Here we go. Awesome. Hello, everybody. This is Jay Massey with the Cashflow Diary, and behind me we have my wonderful wife, Popi. Say hello.
Hi.
As you saw by the title, we are talking about how to find and choose the best partner in business and in life. And I figured, someone had just asked me the question, so I figured why not share here as well, right? Why not share here as well so that we could talk about that? What did you think?
I think that's a great idea.
You think? Okay. Excellent. So we're going to bounce back and forth between talking about how to choose the best partner for business and life. And I've got a couple of notes that I'll share with you as we go through. But one of the things that when it comes to, definitely when it comes to business and I think life as well, you're out there, you're building, real estate in and of itself is not done alone. So typically it's done with a partner or partners or people in a team. Wealth is a team sport. You might want to write that one down. A friend of mine by the name of Jim Bunch says that a lot. And that's because it's true. Wealth is a team sport. So is life. Do you have any general comments about partnerships or business and life success?
It's actually funny that you mentioned that because I just got back from the gym. And one of the reasons that I was there is because someone simply asked me if I wanted to go. And without her influence of saying, hey, do you want to go? I might not have gone this morning. And I definitely wouldn't have learned some of the life lessons that I learned, even in that short 1 hour period of time, because I had someone else to bounce ideas off of. I had someone else to kind of push me into uncomfortable situations that I didn't want to get into. But afterwards, it was totally worth it. So I definitely agree with the partnership idea. Indeed.
In fact, if you're over here and you have ever had a partner that has helped you move past something, what I want you to do is to give me lots of hearts over here on Periscope and definitely some likes and comments over here on Facebook. Because at the end of the day, what it comes down to is people, it's like it takes a village to raise a child. It takes, we need a lot of support.
Yes.
That's right. We have 4 children.
Yes.
We know about needing a village in that regard. And at the end of the day, we're not going to get through this life on our own, and neither your business isn't going to grow on your own. Your life needs input from other people who have been there, who have done that, or who at least are going through the same thing with you. So you're not crazy when you're feeling all of these emotions and things. And again, as we continue to talk, feel free to type in some questions if you've got them. But one of the things that I did want to say is that my wife specifically has a ton of experience when it comes to being a part of successful teams, many of you may not know or may remember her from a long, long time ago. This is definitely pre-Facebook days,
yes.
But she's in the Hall of Fame for track and as well as volleyball at her school. So volleyball is a team sport, and you don't get there without understanding the benefit of a coach and partners and team. So talk about that for a little minute.
That's funny you mentioned, not being able to get there without the right coach or team. I remember in high school, and so that you guys know, I went to Long Beach Poly, Jackrabbits.
She won't let it go.
No, it won't.
She won't let it go.
Best high school ever. Any Jackrabbits out there?
Oh, that would be pretty funny.
That would be awesome. Give me some green hearts if you can.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, I went to Long Beach Poly, and I wasn't even thinking about playing volleyball. I was actually thinking about running track, and one of the volleyball coaches actually suggested that I try out for the volleyball team, and yay, I made it. I made JV, woo, as a sophomore. But then someone got bumped out. I made varsity. And we actually had to change coaches because the funny thing about that is she was a wonderful woman, but we needed someone stronger. We needed a better coach, and so we actually got another coach. And we took league championship, and it wasn't without its battles. I mean, there were some of us that were out of shape, even though we were young, and all that good stuff. And we had to constantly do drills, constantly do repetitive things over and over again, things that weren't exciting at all. And as a matter of fact, they were sometimes and often painful. I remember there was a hill, and if anybody knows Long Beach, there's Signal Hill. So we would all get to run from the gym and run to Signal Hill. And then not only did we have to run to Signal Hill, then we had to run up a hill and over and over and over again, and until we were just kind of done. And then we had to run back. So it was tiring, but it bonded us as a team, and it gave, not only did it give us stamina, it bonded us as a team, but, just doing those repetitive things over and over again, those boring, simple things, when game time would come, we had enough practice doing those boring, simple things to where, if we needed to improvise, hey, we knew what to do, or our bodies and our minds were automatically prone to do it. And, we made our mistakes. We did some wrong things. We lost some games, but ultimately, the cool thing was, as a team, we got to spend a lot of time together. I mean, we practiced together. We ate lunch together. Some of us, walked home or drove home together. It was bonding. So not only did we bond as a team, it took, those boring drills. It took, practicing and spending time together as a team, getting to know each other, getting to trust each other. Cause that's a huge part of life in business, is being able to trust someone, and just being able to listen to the coach. We didn't always like him. We loved him a lot more when the plays would go right and we won the games and we won the championship. Sure. But, It did take a lot of little components. It's not one simple thing. It's a multitude of things. And, fortunately I was able to get a scholarship to go play at UCI, and that was an incredible experience. And again, same thing, just being a part of a team. We weren't necessarily a championship team, but we did pave the way for a lot of better teams to come. But it was a great experience either way. And, that's the essence of teamwork.
So let me ask you this question then. When it comes to being on a volleyball team, again, it's not necessarily a sport I've excelled at by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going to make an assumption. Does everybody play the same position and have the same role?
Oh, no. Not only did we not play the same position or same role, but there was different training for the different positions. As an outside, I started off as a middle blocker, and as a middle blocker, you have to go back and forth, between the sides, and you're always moving. The only other person that's moving probably more than you is the setter. Give me some hearts for some middle blockers.
You did, clearly. Someone has some pain over here.
That move.
They're like, what?
But it's different training. You have to have, you have to be faster, quicker and able to get back and forth. As an outside hitter, you had to come from a different way, but outside hitters had to be able to play defense as well, because sometimes the middle blockers got subbed out for someone that could, be a better passer. Nowadays they have the liberos that sub for anybody. But as a left side hitter, when I went from middle blocker in high school to left side hitter in college, I had to train completely different. The footwork is different. The handwork is different, a little bit different. And I had to learn how to pass, which was interesting because I didn't get subbed out as much. So you learn a lot of different things being in different positions. So no, it's not the same, even though it is the same game.
Indeed. And that's one of the best things to understand is that in order to have a successful team, especially if the goal is bigger than any one person, the team and the roles have to be complementary. They have to be complementary, right? They've all got to work together as opposed to working against each other. Not everybody has the same role. Not everybody has the same skill sets. There's not even the same amount of training that's required in order for you to build that successful team. So you say to me that, hey, Jay, I want to go out there and do some more real estate. That's wonderful, but you need different ingredients in order to bring it all together and to actually make it successful. And, I see you guys continue to join us. As you do us a favor. Tell us where you're from. Give us a little, if this is your first time watching us here at the Cashflow Diary, just type the word Cashflow because that's pretty cool. I see you, Mike and Latoya and Mike and Gabrielle, it looks like. So I'm glad that you guys are here. So this is cool. The point is that it requires different ingredients, right? You don't make a cake with just eggs because that would probably not be. That would just be, eggs. It wouldn't be a cake, and that's really what it comes down to is that you need different ingredients. So in a real estate transaction, the different ingredients that you're going to need are knowledge, time, money, and credit. Knowledge, time, money, and credit. So that's what it comes down to. So I see Mike is from Starbucks. Awesome. I know exactly what you're talking about. My second home office. We got some Chicago and Texas, and new to Cashflow Diary. Welcome, Gia. Glad that you're here. Home from rainy Redondo Beach. I know we're in Southern California. Today's one of those days where I want a refund, my friend, because it's like, what is up? I paid too much money for anything less than perfect weather. So, what's that?
We need the rain.
Okay, sure. So that's one of the ingredients then, in this case, is rain. Yes. But knowledge, time, money, and credit is part of what's necessary in order to pull a business off and be successful with it. Somebody has to have the knowledge and know what they're doing. Someone has to have the time to watch over the hen house, if you will. Someone has to have the money and credit to actually put the tools and resources into play that can execute the strategy that you've come up with. But it doesn't mean any one person has to have all of those things. So I'm curious, was there ever a time, say with volleyball or any of the things that you've done, where you felt like you wanted to play a different role, or if you played a different role? How did that go?
Oh, yeah. I can't set for anything, but the setter is always the sexy position because they're usually the team captain and so on and so forth. But everybody trained to learn how to set didn't necessarily mean that you were an expert at it. I actually have one finger of mine is shorter than the other one. So even though, I love to set and I love to see that beautiful, set the ball go and the person spike it. It was awesome. A lot of times, it would get in the way and, I would hit it the wrong way and the ball would just go spinning off and we'd get a card or, no, it was not cute. I had to learn to play I had to stay in my lane. I had to play left side. Now, again, it didn't necessarily mean that, if someone who was passing the ball, if someone passed the ball and it shanked off the court, I was fast enough to get to it, sometimes, and I could set it. Sometimes it was beautiful, but not all the time.
Right. But even that being the case, there wasn't necessarily one person who was more important than the other.
No, everyone played bump, set, pass. As a matter of fact, if you bumped and, bumped over, or if you set and hit, we would get in trouble if we didn't follow the system of bump, set, pass. Now, of course, in an emergency, when the ball's flying over the net and it's right there and it's in the sweet spot and you can spike it and kill it and it's awesome, then yeah, sometimes you have to do that. But most of the time it was bump, set, pass. That was the system.
And that's my point here, is that just because you're the person with the knowledge and the time doesn't mean you're less valuable than the person with the money or the credit. And that it doesn't mean anything that's different. Okay. So, what it comes down to is every ingredient is important. Whether you're out there for business, you've got the knowledge and the time, that can be and should be, in my opinion, in some cases, even more valuable than the money and the credit, only because supply and demand come into play. There is way more money and credit than there is knowledge and time or expertise on how to execute a strategy. So we've got a question over here. It says, how about a time when you disagreed or didn't understand the coach? Okay, totally makes sense, right? You've got somebody who's calling the play, but you don't necessarily agree or understand what they're asking you to do. How did you handle those things when it comes to maintaining team cohesiveness and unity?
Okay, yeah, you may not like this answer, but when I had mentioned earlier that I was invited by one coach to played with that particular coach for a year. We didn't necessarily agree with how she was coaching the team, so we got another coach. It happens sometimes. But what I can say is a lot of times the coaches, if they are in the position that you want to be, if they're a great coach, and sometimes great coaches necessarily don't make great players. I can think of one in particular, Long Beach State's coach, Brian Gammalero, didn't play a lot of volleyball, but he had championship teams. And I know a lot of the girls personally, and sometimes they didn't always agree with him, but they won the championships. Now, if you don't want to be scarred for life, but you want to win a championship, you got to figure out a way to either work with that coach and ask a lot of questions and get clarity, and trust. Again, the trust comes into it. Now, if you're just hard-headed and disagree with everything that someone is telling you and you're still not getting the results that you want, re-examine. You got to examine in here. So again, it comes to communication. It comes to making the appropriate changes, and sometimes just trusting.
Indeed. Now, for those of you just now joining us, my name is Jay Massey with the Cashflow Diary, and this is my wife, Poppy. We're talking about how to build a successful team in business and in life, and we're using examples from our own life as to how to make sure that happens, so that, because nothing of any merit, your dreams do not get come to reality on your own. It's not just because you are so great. It's because you have managed to withdraw and exceed or draw out greatness from so many other people who are all after the same common goal. So Gabrielle's asking, do you guys partner up on deals? Now, that's the essence of exactly what we're talking about. Gabrielle, is how to use the different ingredients, knowledge, time, money, and credit, in a cohesive way to go out there, especially in business. The number one thing, what you've got to understand is, as you heard my wife just talk about, everybody has a role. We should stay in our lane. There's a certain role that you are meant to play. And what it comes down to is you must understand why a particular person is needed on a team. Why do you need a coach in the first place? If you don't need a coach, okay, you don't need a coach. But if you do need a coach, you need to understand their role. So this is very, very true when it comes to real estate investing. What do I mean by that? Oftentimes people ask me, hey, can we partner up or can we do deals together? Well, what does that mean? Of the 4 basic ingredients, knowledge, time, money, and credit, which one or ones are you even bringing to the table first? Are you bringing any of them to the table? Do you have any knowledge, time, money, or credit? Do you have expertise or experience in some other area that I might not have? And if so, what is that? How is it going to be complementary? Remember, the skill sets must be complementary. You don't have everybody on the volleyball team spiking and no one who can set or pass or bump. Everybody has to have certain basic skills, sure, but you have a specialty that you bring to the table. And only when all of those things come together does it make sense, because we all have a mutual respect and understanding of why you're here. You don't have to agree with your coach. You don't have to agree with the other players, but you need to understand why they're there. They're there to do a particular job, probably because they do it better than you. And what it comes down to is, if you want to receive the benefits of being successful,
you're going to learn how and why to respect and expect people to perform at their best. So, let me see. So someone's also asking, flipping my last question. Is it also difficult in coaching team members? So I'll let you take that one.
Oh gosh. I did spend time as a coach, and I actually do coach still. I have a team of women, and we're in a particular company, and I do coach them. And sometimes, it can be difficult, but the best thing about it is that you learn how to work together with someone. You learn, and like my husband said, you don't always have to agree. As a matter of fact, we don't always agree.
Oh, what?
But you learn to work with that person, and sometimes you lay down your opinion and allow them to lead, and sometimes they will lay down their opinion and let you lead. And it's about working together with one another and submitting to one another so that you can both move together. Now, the cool thing about that is, when you lay down your opinion and you let that other person lead, you get to breathe. You get to go, because guess who has to take responsibility when things don't go right? And it goes back and forth. But randomly don't go right. But that's the learning curve. Is guess what, guys? We a lot of times get do-overs in this life. We get to learn and grow. And the cool thing is, when you do it together, that builds greater confidence. It builds greater skill sets. You learn, you grow, you succeed together, and that's what helps the bond. When you go into a team, you have young teams of freshmen that have never played together, never done anything together. It's a little harder to win a championship versus, having sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and that mix of people that have learned to trust one another.
Indeed. All right. So for those of you who just now joining us, welcome. My name is Jay, and this is my wife, Poppy. Over here, we're talking about how to build a successful business and life using partners and leveraging the fact that we are stronger together than we are separately. So we have a question here. It says, I've had challenges with real estate agents and contractors not listening to you. Totally understood. When it comes to some partners that you're attending to work with, what it comes down to is you can't exactly always agree. But at the same time, you must remember the role that you're playing. So you've got to ask yourself, how valuable of a skill set is that person really bringing to the table? How valuable is it? Are they that necessary? Are they the only ones? You are the team captain in a lot of cases, especially in business. And if you're driving real estate, you're the team captain. In some cases, you're even the general manager or owner. And that's the role you need to play. Occasionally, you have to sub out people. That's what it comes down to. Put them on the bench. It's time to sit. You're not playing by the rules, or at least not the way that I'd like you to play the game. Here's the way that I'd like you to play the game. And if they can't play the game according to the play, what happens?
Well, you lose. If things go wrong, then again, you re-examine what happened. Was it the coach's decision, or did the players fail to execute? And to answer the question, you have people that aren't listening to you. Brace yourself, because I'm about to say something you may not like. Have you earned their respect, and are you worthy of being listened to? And I don't know you, so I say that with much love and a grain of salt. But when I was coaching, my team members listened to me because the majority of the time that I would give them instruction, it would work out. Now, if I'm giving my team instruction and it's never working out, or I myself am not walking the walk and talking the talk, like if I'm a weight loss coach and I'm not losing weight, or I'm not reaching my goals in that area, then it's harder for other people to respect what I'm saying. Your actions have to match your words. So when you're building that relationship with someone, a real estate agent or a contractor or whomever, we understand they sometimes have a very different posture. Some might call it arrogance. Some might call it confidence. We don't know where that line is in between. But you have to earn that respect, and you have to earn their trust in order for them to listen to you. And if they don't, again, sub.
Right. Indeed. Sub. Totally. All day long. Because It's ultimately it's your business, it's your money, it's your family's future that is at risk. However, there is something to be said for exactly what my wife just said, in that, do you even have the requisite experience to override their supposed knowledge? I'm not saying that they're always right, but they may know more than you. There's a reason they're not agreeing. There's probably some value in finding out why the teammate is not agreeing. Regardless of what position they're playing, right, they have an opinion for a reason. Part of the reasons that you actually brought them on the team is for that opinion. You don't always want just yes men and yes women. Yes. Trust me on this one. In fact, I'm actually, it's pretty funny. I get together with my team on Thursdays usually, and I intentionally told them at the beginning, we're all strong-willed people. We're all here on purpose, and I want you to voice your opinion. And most of our conference calls sound more like arguments than actual meetings. But that's exactly what I want, because here's what I have learned through all of those beatings and blows from friends. Those wounds can be trusted, but yes, more importantly, what ends up happening is we build something better. Build something better. And that's what it comes down to. So what does that mean? That means take that advice, take that feedback, that what feels like criticism. It can be hard to hear sometimes that the idea you think is the holy grail is actually more like mud. You know, it's hard to hear that. You're like, this is the thing that's going to set me free. You don't understand. It's my baby. Yeah, but your baby needs a diaper change. So, and that's okay. Babies dumping diapers. That's what they do. You just need to be able to realize that sometimes. And that's where other team members, other perspectives come into play. That's one of the reasons why you'll get further if you have a team member. So let me see. Gabrielle is saying that she's bringing time and knowledge in a tight budget. Unfortunately, don't look at okay. So Gabrielle, let me talk to you for just a small second. When I'm talking about the resources you have, I'm not talking about the resources you don't have. Be proud of the resources you do have. What you do have is important. Don't devalue it because you might perceive someone having money and credit as more valuable than your knowledge and time. That's completely false and irrelevant and will continue to destroy your opportunities and ability to be effective as a leader and build a business. You are bringing knowledge and time. If that's what you're bringing, then you stand in that power, so to speak, and you bring your knowledge and your time to bear. Don't assume that it has no value. In fact, I would argue and could prove that it has more value than someone's money and credit and other resources. What would you say to people, to teammates who feel like they're, for whatever reason, there's a position, like I'm an outside hitter, that's one of the glorified positions, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, that's what I thought. So, what would you say to people who think of their position either in their company, in their business, in life, being less than someone else's?
You know what, to be honest with you, I have to jump out of the sports analogy right now because the only thing that I can think of, there's a favorite scripture of mine. It says, you know, the eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you.
Right.
And if I misquoted, I apologize. But, you know, your right hand is important. Your left hand is important. Your right foot is important. Did you know how important your pinky toe is? If you cut your pinky toe off,
right?
You can't walk.
Thing hurts when you stub it at night.
I think I can't say the ear or something like that. But, you know, your body, you have different body parts for a reason. And, you know, think of your team, you know, as one body. You can't say to one another, just because you don't have money or credit, I don't need you, or you don't have time and all, I don't need you. I've got all the money in the world. No. As we know, some people with a lot of money in this country make a lot of noise, but don't get anything done.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave that there. But what I'm saying is, yeah, every part is important. And that's why, like when my husband was saying, find someone that's complementary, that's the most beautiful of partnerships, is because you guys bring different strengths and weaknesses to the table that will make as one and help you move forward in your goals, to reach your goals. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then again, there is no one is greater, one is lesser. In this sense, we're all humans. We're all in this life journey together. We're trying to get to a destination, get through this thing. It's tough enough. Don't make it harder. You know, it's tough enough. Gabrielle's saying that she's got an awesome team that you put together, but it seems people think that real estate investors have deep pockets. Yes, they do think that. That doesn't mean anything other than that's their perception. It is what it is. That doesn't mean anything other than that. You just have to learn to help people understand the reality. Also, though, if you are feeling like you are lacking in the areas of having access to capital, that's also an indication of a skill set you would want to gain. One of the things that we do at the Cashflow Diary is I've been working with entrepreneurs and real estate entrepreneurs specifically for a number of years, teaching them how to raise capital. It's one of the necessary skill sets for every entrepreneur. You must have it. It's not optional. Period. It's not about how much money you have. It's about how many resources do we have together, and only we win. Okay. So that's the thing. And when you break that mentality of I don't have this and I don't have that, you can finally begin to make some forward progress. See, the last piece inside of understanding when it comes to building your team is that you have to ask how much are you willing to give up and pay for someone else's skill set? Everybody's skill set has value. So are you willing to share in a part of the deal, or do you want to pay for it up front? Do you have to hire the employee? Is it a contractor? Does it a commission arrangement? What is it? How valuable is that skill set to you? The issue is you've got to understand that every skill set has value and you should be compensated. The worker deserves his wages, period. So you've got to become better at negotiation. You've got to become better at raising capital. You've got to become better in so many different ways. And don't wish it was easier. You've heard this before because Jim Rohn has said it. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Yes. And that's what this is that's what's happening. I think so much so, the purpose of us having dreams, having this desire for more is to help us come together to understand that we are missing pieces and we have to work together. It forces us in so many ways. Or many of us also choose to just stay small. And again, there's nothing wrong with staying small if that's your dream. But if you know there's more inside of you, you should totally do something about it. Go big or go home, right? I was just kind of like waiting. She's going to say that in a second. I don't think anyone ever takes the time to, did you ever start like a season? Do you ever start a day going, hey, I can't wait to be in last place or aim for the bottom?
God, no. I can't wait to lose. No. Actually, okay, I'll tell you a story. There was one time I wanted to go see a movie. We were traveling up to San Jose. An Interview with the Vampire was coming out. And actually, I did go, I hope we either win or lose really quickly so I can go sneak out and see this movie. But that was the only one time. Okay, after that.
Wow. I hope.
I'm just keeping it real.
There it is. Okay. There it is.
That was it. I wanted to win, but
the movie was important. Wow.
That was selfish of me, okay? That was selfish.
Interview with the Vampire.
Me and my girlfriend snuck out and saw it.
Okay.
Sorry, Coach.
There. Awesome. So sometimes your team members might not even have the same goal or objective as you. They might, they're present, but they're clearly not after the same thing. So that was enlightening.
Yeah.
An Interview with the Vampire of all things. Does anybody like Interview with the Vampire? Give me some hearts over here. I'm just kind of curious because I was not expecting that. I don't know if you guys were. But what it comes down to, guys, is you must first make lots of decisions. You've got to decide, like I said, when it comes to building teams, they got to be complementary. That's what we've said. It has to be complementary. When the skill sets overlap, that's when the arguments really happen, because no one has any respect for the other person's abilities because they're too busy trying to prove how much better their own abilities are over than yours. And that can become a challenge. Let me see. What does this say? Omni is saying, he says, so the market has not dried up. I don't think so. Seems like everyone wants to be a real estate investor. Seems too good. Please encourage me. No problem. It's kind of my business at the Cashflow Diary to create real estate investors. It's kind of what we do. And I get it. I totally understand. Here's the deal. It's not so much that everybody wants to be a real estate investor. No one wakes up and saying, very few people say, hey, I want to be a real estate investor. Being a real estate investor is perceived solution to the challenge of, I don't have control over my time. I would like to be able to earn some more money. I would like to be able to take care of my family this way. These types of things. It's like when you go to the hardware store. Very few people want a hammer. What they really want is they want to hang a picture. A hammer is the tool that allows them the ability to hang the picture on the wall. And therefore, they go to the, hardware store to get the hammer. Same thing when it comes to being a real estate entrepreneur. Most people just want a certain benefit from being an entrepreneur more than they want. Now, real estate has a lot of extra advantages like POC, mainly proof of concept. But there's so many things that you must learn first in terms of personal development and business skills. In fact, my wife is a part of a company that has helped her tremendously when it comes to learning some of the business skills. Why don't you share what some of those business skills you think that entrepreneurs need to have in order to actually be successful and begin to do what Omni's trying to do in terms of setting herself or himself free?
That's a great question. I think one of the number one things that I'm starting to learn as far as being a successful entrepreneur is it's all about the relationships. You can't go very far in life by yourself. I mean, very few people have done it. You need the support of people who believe in your dreams, who believe in your goals, who challenge you to be better, who are a listening ear or a safe place when you need to vent because you're so frustrated because a deal fell through, or you're discouraged or what have you. But, you need those people also that you are teaching and training to be better. So you need, someone once told me you need 4 main people in your life. Of course you can have more, but I'm just, for the analogy, walk with me here. 4 main people. You need one person to go ahead of you that's teaching you and training you and mentoring you, and that's where you want to be. Then you need 2 people beside you that are going with you, that are going through the same things, experiencing some of the similar things, and, just that peer group. Then you need someone walking behind you, like I mentioned earlier, so that you can turn around and teach them, that you're leading them, that you're helping them to grow and be different and reach their goals. So that's one of the most important things that I'm learning. And it's all about one another. Another thing that I can say is it's being organized in time management, because is that not your strength, Jenny?
I ain't saying nothing.
Organization and time management. I mean, if you spend, all day making phone calls and trying to, I guess I'm speaking my husband's language, raise capital, which my husband is very good at doing, by the way. If you spend all day doing that, but then you turn around and you're not managing your property managers, or you're not managing your team, and you're not spending time with them, something's going to fall through the wayside. So you have to be able to, organize your time and manage your time adequately so that you can work on those different components. And some days you're going to have more days to do. There's nothing wrong with spending all day with, raising capital. I think it's a great idea, but you can't do all week. Can't do that all year. It can't be 100%. So you have to manage your time. Another thing is you have to master your emotions. That in and of itself, I remember I had gone to a training, and Tony Robbins was there, and he was talking about changing your state. And oh my gosh, one of the ways that my husband loves to change his state is to go for a walk. Because, there are days where I will walk into the office and the look on my husband's face is such that I just kind of turn around and walk out. And I'm just like, I'm going to leave your coffee right here, and I'm just going to go. And then I'll see him get up, put his headphones on, and head out the door, and he's taking a walk and praying, or, just getting from frustrations out. So you have to learn how to manage your emotions. Otherwise you'll tank yourself, and misery loves company. You'll call someone else and they'll tank you too. But you have to figure out a way to, get from a, either discouraged state to back to, moving forward and pressing on, even despite how you're feeling. Or some days you're so la 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 la, celebrate that you can't see that there's a fire, one of your properties are behind you or in your life, and you're just like la 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 la. So you have to manage that, even that emotion, and kind of get serious for a second. But it's all a juggling, it's all a balance. But I hope that has been helpful.
Well, and what it comes down to is that there are many skills that are required. A lot of them are personal development related. They're all related to you. I mean, getting a business deal done, it's just a series of steps. It's no more difficult than going to the grocery store to pick up your favorite box of cereal or nuts, or I don't know. What's that green thing you like? That green spike that kombucha. Yes, that. Pick that.
What's for kombucha? kombucha?
Yeah, Hearts for Kombucha. Sure, by all means. For those of you,
like,
what is that? I'm like, I don't know what that is. Right? Totally. So clearly, there goes the Hearts for Kombucha. Who knew? I did not. But anyway, you guys get the point. The point is simple. Is the learning to do a transaction is, it's just a step-by-step process. It's not overly complicated by any stretch of anyone's imagination. What is a challenge and what keeps people out is the fact that they have to grow personally. There are skill sets that you yet don't have that you need in order to be successful. There are things that you have to learn. You have to learn what a bad partner is in order to be able to find a good one. What is a bad teammate in order to find a good one? I mean, that's just part of it. But fundamentally, if you remember to make sure that they're complementary, to make sure that you understand how much you're willing to pay, quote unquote, either in time, money, emotions, and energy for access to that teammate's skills, that will help you. Okay. Someone's over here liking kombucha. Great too. Yeah. We got a whole kombucha fans all of a sudden everywhere. Who knew? So that's the new reason to become a real estate investor, so that you can have kombucha.
Yeah.
There it is. But when it comes to choosing the partners, it's just like most other choices that you've ever made. You made a few bad ones first, and so that you could learn how to make a good one.
Got to kiss a lot of frogs, ladies.
Yes. And then it becomes, but you got to make them complementary, right? They become complementary. You got to understand why they're going to add value. You got to understand how valuable is that skill set, because sometimes you got to sub people out. It's just part of what happens and how much you're willing to pay. Now, I saw some individuals over on Periscope. You were asking to be able to talk to us later, and I assume you were referring to some of the programs that we have available that help and train and teach individuals. Feel free to call in to our 800 number, and when we can, we will do our best to get you a call back. It's at 800-689-1764. We're in the United States. 800-689-1764.
Can someone type that in the comments for us, please? That would be awesome.
But that would be wonderful. 800-689-1764. That would be great. And just understand that this process that you're on is just part of it. Again, I appreciate and thank you for the time that you've taken here on a random Saturday. I'm sure you weren't planning on sitting and watching, but hopefully we've helped you in some way, shape, or form. Thank you very much. Hopefully we helped you in some way, shape, or form. Give us some hearts if you absolutely enjoyed what you heard today. Like us on Facebook. Make sure you share with some friends, because we continuously produce content that help entrepreneurs go out there, become bigger, better, badder investors, so that they can go change their own world while in helping other people inside of theirs. It's been fun talking to you guys today. We look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.